Hi everyone, it's October the 22nd, and that means it's the 22nd day of thousands of our flying partners being on furlough status and without their medical insurance. And while our contracts cover a portion of the pay, we have all kinds of reports because people were put on their active medical insurance onto COBRA. There's been interruptions. It's not the normal active health insurance. People were kicked off as of October 1. None of this is okay. We have flight attendants who need this in order to survive, who got this job so that they could have steady health insurance because of a chronic illness that is very treatable with health insurance, but incredibly expensive, bankrupting you and your family just in order to live or in order to be healthy enough to get another job. None of that is okay, and it's also private. Healthcare is supposed to be private. But this system that we have where people get kicked off of their health insurance if they don't have a job is incredibly cruel, and we're seeing the results of that right now. We also have a whole bunch of other people who may have kept their health insurance intact but are not getting a paycheck. And so this is day 22. I know people are getting tired. I know people are tired of feeling like they're hearing the same thing, feeling like we've been a pawn in the whole thing. The reason that we feel like we're a pawn in this whole thing is because we have been driving relief for the whole country. And so while we have been focused on our payroll support program, that is a workers first program, not a bailout. It doesn't have all of the things that people hate and that were in the rest of the CARES Act, where the Treasury Secretary can pick winners and losers, where the Treasury Secretary can direct those funds any way that he sees fit. No, this told the airlines and the Treasury Secretary that he had to get that payroll support to the airlines and funnel through to our pay. 70% of our pay in a time when demand was down by 90% at the point that we put that in place. And now demand is just back at about 40%, but about 20% of the revenue. So that's appropriate to keep people in their jobs and connected to their healthcare. We did something that was historic, and we need to keep it going. Everyone agrees. And so if our issue were put on the floor of the Senate right now, like Mitch McConnell could have done for weeks and weeks and weeks, it would get 95 votes for. But he has stopped that from going to the Senate floor. He said it had to be unanimous in order to get there, and he has stopped that. He also outsourced his power and has not taken part in the overall coronavirus relief negotiations. And that's why you keep hearing that Speaker Pelosi and Secretary Mnuchin are at the table. Secretary Mnuchin is there on behalf of President Trump, and Speaker Pelosi is working to get this agreement. Now, this is a full relief bill. And if we had a way to get our payroll support program in place and there were an avenue to do that, we would do it. But the only way to get that done right now is through a full coronavirus relief bill. And we need that. We need that for the country. We have friends and neighbors who have been out of work since March and got no longer qualify for unemployment and have lost the extra $600 that was just enough to get by, just enough to continue to pay rent, the cable bill, and all of the bills that we have in order to survive. So we need this relief for the country. We need the testing that is going to be in this bill so that we can actually get back to a place where we can get this virus contained and open up our economy. We also need people to get relief because we, as airline employees, need people to be able to afford tickets. We need people to be able to go to restaurants and go to resorts and go to theme parks and go to casinos, and we need all of that in place. We need our small businesses to be protected, and we need to make sure that there's no discrimination in that process, that people of color who open these small businesses can get a loan just like anyone else. And these are some of the things that have been negotiated and some of the things that Speaker Pelosi has been demanding be in this bill so that everyone has access to this relief. So we support that, and we support our negotiators. This is not political whatsoever at all. We support Secretary Mnuchin as well. We support the negotiators at the table trying to get relief to the American public. I want to let you know that Leader McConnell has not done his job, has not taken part in this, and has said all the way along that we should just open business back up again. No one needs relief if they just get back to work. Well, as we know, we don't necessarily have jobs to go to. It is time to call the question here on Leader McConnell. Get involved. Support this. Support these negotiations. We are calling on you, and we're calling on the members of your caucus too. Republicans in the Senate who have supported us, have signed letters for us, but have not gotten the job done. They need to say that they support this because they're throwing doubt on this. And President Trump needs to lean on them to get it done. But as long as there is doubt on that, people will hold back. It'll be harder to get to an agreement. So we do have a commitment from the Speaker. We do have a commitment, continued commitment from Secretary Mnuchin on behalf of President Trump. And we need everyone saying that Americans need to get relief. Leader McConnell has said if they come to an agreement, he'll put it on the floor. But then he goes back and says that we shouldn't be doing anything and we should be talking about austerity. Do you know what that means? That means cuts to our pay. That means more cuts to our jobs. That means more jobs lost. That means putting it on our communities. That means making people hurt. Right now, we don't have the option to quit because we have our friends and flying partners who have nowhere else to go, nowhere else to be able to get a paycheck to provide for their families, nowhere else to sign up for health insurance that they can afford, that they need in order to survive. And we have to keep fighting for them. I am really proud of all of you because you have kept this in the news. You have made this the story. And like we said to Capitol Hill a few days ago, we're telling our stories. But what we're also telling are the stories of millions of Americans who don't have a voice right now, but who are hurting too. 8 million people who have fallen into poverty since this pandemic started. This is not okay. It's not okay for any of us, and it makes all of us less safe. It makes our economy weaker, and it makes us harder to compete with the rest of the world on the other side of this. So we need relief now. The reason that we have gotten support for our Payroll Support Program is because the program makes sense. It's the best use of the public's money, but also because there is an election. There is an election on November 3rd. Flight attendants pay attention and flight attendants vote. And so people are motivated to show that they are supporting their constituents. That's why it is so critical to lock in this relief right now, to use this moment right now to help our representatives understand. Thank you for your support. Now go get the job done. We need Senate Republicans speaking out loudly and saying that this relief package is necessary. We are not hearing that enough. And so we need to encourage them to do that. We hear it quietly. We need that publicly stated. And so I'm letting you know, continue to call all of your representatives. It doesn't matter what party they're from. It matters that there's an election on November 3rd. And we are watching and we are demanding that the American public get the help that it needs. Because our jobs are on the line through no fault of our own and after we have faithfully served our country in the middle of this pandemic. Keep the faith, everyone. I'm sure that you can tell that I am fired up. I'm fired up because we're almost there. I'm fired up because we're this close to getting this done. And we need to push it over the edge. We need to pull together and make this happen. And I know that we can. So keep going, keep calling, keep tweeting, keep showing up for the Relief Now events. Look at all the press that you have generated and the purpose that you have given Congress. We are not going to let them off the hook now. We say relief now to everyone. And we continue to support our negotiators to get the job done. Hashtag everyday counts. We need it done now. Relief now. Thanks all, and keep fighting.